In this episode of Your Moving Mind, we're going to dive into the science and the power of pauses. There's a science to it, and we tend to forget it. When we take frequent pauses, we function better and we learn better. You're listening to Your Moving Mind, the meeting point of movement and mindfulness, and everything in between. Move your mind your movement, with your host, Michael Landau. Before diving into today's episode, let me tell you about mindful movement every day. I've recently created a 5-day course that takes you through the process I developed in the last few years. This course, Mindful Movement Every Day, is so far completely free. It leads you through 5 daily movement sessions. You slow down, you pay attention, you explore yourself for a few minutes, and you improve. Mindful Movement Every Day doesn't only give you 5 days of mindful movement, it teaches you how to keep doing it for a short moment every day. I don't know how long it will stay free of charge, so don't wait too long. Go to persistent-growth.com and sign up. Start moving mindfully today, and you'll never want to stop doing it. persistent-growth.com. And I'll see you in mindful movement every day. If you've been following me for a while, you probably know that I'm a Feldenkrais practitioner. The Feldenkrais method is the main inspiration of everything I do professionally, of what I try to teach, of what I'm talking about here. Feldenkrais was a revolutionary. He was a visionary. He really talked about things that took 50 more years to go into what is commonly known and studied. So here's another thing that Feldenkrais talked about and was very clear about many years before it became somehow proven. So this is it. Pause. The value of pause. In a Feldenkrais class, the way he taught it, the way all of us practitioners learn how to teach it, you do some movements, you move slowly, you move with very little effort, you explore yourself, you're aware of the details of what you're doing, and very often, once in a while, you pause. And the teacher would say, again and again, okay, let go of it and rest. And many people who start their journey with the Feldenkrais method can really get irritated by it, or they get bored. I don't need a pause. I hardly did anything. I moved very little. I'm not tired. Why should I pause? Why are we pausing so much? And Feldenkrais was really clear about it. And now it is also scientifically clear, if you need a proof for it. Your brain doesn't stop working when you pause. Actually, if you want to create a learning process, your brain needs a pause to integrate and assimilate new information. So here's one experiment of many. A group of students were given a lecture. One half of the group was given a short reflection pause 3 times during the 50-minute lecture, just a very short pause, 3 times. The other group was given the exact same lecture without any pause. The group who received pauses during the lecture had a significantly better retention, long-term retention of what was taught in this lecture when they were asked about it a few weeks later. A typical scientific experiment about the value of pause. Just by stopping for a few seconds even, sure, I think it was 1 minute pauses, very short ones. Feldenkrais did this all the time, before these experiments were done. And he talked about integration. You want to integrate what you're doing, what you're observing, the information that you're getting and absorbing into your nervous system. Otherwise, it just goes away. How do you make it stay? How do you make it part of what you know in order to improve? This is what this whole thing is about. You lie on the floor and you move very little and you observe yourself in movement so that you improve the habitual patterns, the brain maps of action that you already have. We all have a million skills. If we want to keep improving them and not just do the same every day, we need to learn. And learning needs pauses. So just take a moment, and you don't need to do anything about it. You don't need to think about it. You don't need to actively assimilate and decide what you're going to do with that information. You move, you observe yourself. There is some new information that came into your system. You want to integrate it? Pause. And of course, another important part of it that is already explored and scientifically proven is that you keep learning when you sleep. A good night's sleep is an essential part of learning. Every student should know that, and most students don't really apply that, and it's not good for the learning. You want to learn well, do your learning during the day, get a good night's sleep. This is when the information sinks in, get assimilated, and you're much more likely to remember more of it. So there you are, another visionary and revolutionary idea that Feldenkrais built into the system in a very consistent and practical way. Take pauses often. They can be short. Just let go of what you're doing. Take a rest. And then go back to your life. And why am I claiming that this is so revolutionary? Because our culture doesn't know it. We are taught, and we hear this constantly throughout our lives, don't waste time, try harder, do more, you can do it. We learn to not pause at all. When you pause, you're lazy, you're not producing, you're not performing. So just keep performing. It is just wrong. We work much worse that way. So especially when you're stressed, when your to-do list is extremely long, when you have so much to do that you don't know what to start with, the best thing you can do to perform better, to be more effective, to do more of what you need to do is taking pauses. Do something and then stop. You gather your mind, you rest, you become sharper and clearer about what comes next. Especially when you're stressed, remember this. Take a pause. Take care.